because we have not seen the 3,000 gallon looking like that in quite some time. Obviously, the repair has been successful. It's holding water. We even got the fronts on so you can see the actual look of the tank, how cool it's going to be once it's up and running and has the sharks in it. But in the meanwhile, let me go ahead and show you all the progress we made, not only on the 3,000 gallon, but the whole mangrove estuary 3,000 gallon, 4,500 gallon system. Plus, we're going to touch in on the Amazon 4,500 gallon. You know, we're doing lights and air pumps and everything. And of course, now that major work is done on the 3,000 gallon, it's time to focus back in on those double 1,200 gallon builds. We got to get those done. I still have a sump leaking on my floor on the Xingu River tank. I still got fish to get moved. You got to get moved over. There's a lot of stuff to go. Plus, we'll take a laugh at how comically little amount of coverage you get in a tank that big, even with putting in 2,500 pounds of sand. So as you can guess, there's more sand coming. Let's go. All right, we're back at the 3,000 gallon, and hopefully this is the last time we see it without water in it. I was at the OCA, so the patch back there on the side and that back seam have had more than enough time to cure. It goes all the way down there. I was in there twice. I've inspected it, and all the areas that I identified with flaws, they were fixed. Everything seems fine. It's passing all of my tests and inspections. It looks like it's ready to go. All the drains are ready. If we go around back here real quick. So we come around back, the estuary, it's been holding water for, gosh, I don't know, 3 weeks or a month now, so that's heavily tested, and the plumbing down there is fixed, so I think the last thing to do is just start filling it back up again. That's the only way to prove whether the patch worked or not, so here goes nothing. So a lot of people had the same thought that I had when I put out the short on the Discus aquarium, is that while the tank looks good, there's just not enough of the small schooling fish in there. Over the years, the schools of little fish, they just dwindle down, so it doesn't appear like much. You know, when you're looking at the tank when you come back, you pretty much just see the Discus. You got to get really close to see the other guys. Now there is a healthy group of cory cats in here, even though I might add a few more to them. Really needs a lot more tetra. Of different sizes and some sort of in-between fish. I've tried rams before, but I don't have a lot of luck with rams. They're like one of the few fish that I don't know. I've never. I mean, they live for 6 months or something for me. Never that long. They never show any signs of ick or anything or any disease. They just waste away. And this tank is kept at 82, so not a temperature deal. But some sort of peaceful, medium-sized cichlid to mix in with these guys. I'll figure something out, but I'm going to do a video pretty soon on this tank once I get all the fish that are, some of them are here in quarantine and some of them I'm still working on sourcing. We're definitely going to spruce up the livestock in here because we need to produce some more nitrates. I'm always low on nitrates in this tank. Between that and that, I can't keep these plants fed, so I'm having to actually dose the pond nitrates, excuse me, just to keep the floaters from sort of wasting away. So we need more fish, we need to feed more, we need more waste. Okay, there we go. Water has started, so this is certainly a big moment. Water's going back in, but a little bit stressful, I can't lie. Even though I feel confident with the patch, like I said, fully inspected, you know, it's just always a momentous moment. Anticlimactic because, you know, you guys are seeing it here, but I have hours and hours of this to go. I'll obviously be inspecting the repaired area as the water is filling up. Also, too, I'm probably going to go ahead and add a second water source on the front here from the other side of the fish basement back there to speed things up. So, at any rate, we've started. Water's going in. We'll check back when there's something more to show you. So it's been a little while since we voted on the poll to turn this 1,200 gallon system here into a Amazon community aquarium, and as you can see, it hasn't progressed any since then because we've been doing all that work on the 3,000 gallon and the mangrove estuary. But now that that work is largely done, and hopefully we're in the middle of a successful water test fill right now, and we know that the other 1,200 gallon is really just on the hairy edge of being done, it's time to go ahead and get working on this tank and get this moving forward. And just to show you that other things are happening and that this is going to be an amazing tank, let me go show you the grow outs for the big school of upper level fish and the big school of lower level fish that are going to be some of the anchor fish for the aquarium. Obviously there's going to be a whole lot of fish in here, but these are some pretty impressive groups that are growing up right now. Let me show them to you. So currently growing out of this 40 gallon, we got a large group of angelfish, 25 of them to be exact, and they will be basically the sort of the top level swimmers in the aquarium. Should be very impressive. I forget the name of the exact name, but I've seen them as adults with the breeder. These came directly from the breeder. I got a real good deal with them, and I've been very happy with them. They're turning out very nice. They're going to look quite a bit different once they're older, but here's just a little bit of footage to show you that this big group is growing out, and they are going to look impressive in that 1,200 gallon Amazonian community aquarium. Now let me go take you over and show you who's going to be doing some of the cleanup on the substrate in that tank. So while the angels are cruising the top, we're going to have this beautiful group of, what are we down to? I think 13 or 15 Savannah geophagus. Also there'll be these albino threadfin acara in there. So this is going to be an impressive group of sand sifters at the bottom of the aquarium. So compare, basically this group here of the Savannah and the group of the angelfish are, what I'm calling like sort of the anchor fish for the aquarium. There's going to be so many other fish, there are hundreds of other fish, but these are the initial groups that are going to get it started, and man, they are beautiful. And obviously he's not going to be going in the community aquarium, but we have the beautiful albino arowana continuing to grow out here on his way to the Xingu River Aquarium as soon as possible. Looking beautiful. Alright, so I just want to show you guys a little bit of what we have to look forward to with the 1,200 gallon Amazon Community Aquarium. It's going to be something else for sure. It's going to be a beauty. Alright, we've been 48 hours with the tank filled up. Well, almost all the way up. Obviously we got to stay a little bit below the drains there, but you get the point. It's been holding water for a couple days now. Let's swing around back. Okay, around back, a little top-down view here. So pretty much, like I said, we're just right here at the drains, right here where the pump that's going to push it over the estuary. We know the estuary's had water in it for like a month now, so quite the water test over there. And I think 2 days is enough here. I've obviously done a whole bunch of inspecting in the spots from before and shining the light underneath, and everything is looking good. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is fill it the rest of the way up so that it starts draining into the sump beneath it, and start pumping over to the estuary, and then go ahead and start firing up the big pumps, the big massive pumps for the 3,000 gallon here, which return through these. Well, there's one pump uses 6 returns, and then there's actually another pump that uses a single return down to the end. So there's 2 pumps actually that turn this massive amount of water over. And in the meantime, I need to run the electrical. So I had to move the electric up higher because it used to be down low, but when we built this tank, we had to move it up. So I'm gonna need to run the electrical cord over to where those pumps are down at the far end there. So while this is filling the rest of the way up, I'll go ahead and run that so that we can fire up the big pumps for the big boy. Here we go. We're getting ready to turn this beast on. So it has been a long time since I've seen the 3,000 gallon up and running. Water pumping through it. So let's see, where should we start? So as you can see, the water is not all the way to the top of the glass, and that's because only 1 of the 7 returns is going right now, because my main big pump is not functioning. Somehow you turn it off for a year or 2, you go to turn it back on, and it's not working. So I have ordered a replacement, and there's just the 1 pump running. So the big pump is a 9,000 gallon per hour pump, and the one that's running is a 3,000. So combined they're 12. They turn the tank over 4 times an hour. But we'll take a look at that when we get in the back. While we're looking at the front, I just want to point out the light is pretty happy with that. I want, obviously, the tank to be lit up, but I want it to be a little bit more diffused because it's, you know, deep water, sharks, rays, things like that. So this is with the black bottom. It's going to be significantly brighter once the sand's in there. So I feel pretty good about the brightness. Now let's go around back. So first of all, I'll take you up top, and you can see only that one return way at the end there is running. The other 6 returns, they go to the big pump, and none of them are doing anything obviously right now. You can also see, let me zoom in a little bit on them. You can see that these returns, they're up above the water line a little bit, and that's because that's where the water line will be once the 9,000 gallon per hour pump turns on. It'll increase the height of the water in the tank by a solid inch or two, and that's what's going to make the water line be correct in the front with the glass. So once the big pump turns on, you'll see a whole lot more water movement, of course, and you'll see the water level be correct, as well as we're going to be adding closed loop system inside the tank. So a pump on this side, a 3,000 gallon per hour pump here, and another one over there, just blowing water internally within the aquarium. So there's going to be a lot more water movement once the main pump's going and once those internal closed loops are on. So we get down to the plumbing, and I'm happy to say no problems. All the plumbing is good. We're pumping water over here to the estuary from this pump here. Everything's working good there. You can see we've added the lights for the mangroves up there. There's going to be one more right here. I just have to get an extension cord to get the cord over here to the light bar. So that power bar there is going to go into a timer, and then all of these lights here will be turned on and off at the same time. So like I said, just one more right here. You can see where the dark area is, and that's for our mangroves. That's going to be growing our mangroves all the way up this wall, all the way into the ceiling, I imagine, and forward. So that's looking good. The estuary, the drain, we are good here. You can see no leak anymore. It's all good to go. That's my big 9,000 gallon per hour pump that's on the fritz. So the replacement's coming in a couple days. But honestly, it's not too big of a deal because I have the one pump running, which is circulating the tank, and I'm still able to start putting sand and rock and doing everything else that needs to be done. So, you know, not too big of a deal. Let's go down here to the drains. You can see, well, there's not enough water flowing through to really kick off to have every drain draining full speed. You can basically see 2 of the drains are doing most of the work, and the other 2 are slightly higher. And because we have the pump pumping over to the estuary over here, that's siphoning off quite a bit of water flow that would be going down these 2 drains here. But again, once the main pump is on, it'll all balance out perfectly with all the drains, with the water level, with the water movement. Everything's looking good. But the amount of water that will make it to the estuary is what we're seeing right now, and it's perfect. It's basically running at 50% of the drain. So basically, the estuary is turning over every single hour. So that's perfect. Again, water flows through the estuary, back down to the sump, and then obviously all the way through the sump and back to the tank. So a little bit bummed that the main pump isn't going right now, because I'd like to see the whole thing rocking and rolling, but should just be a matter of a couple days. And like I said, I have a whole lot of sand to move and a lot of salt and everything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on that, and we will check back once I make some progress there. And of course, I don't know if it'll be in this video, but for sure for the next video, we will have the main pump going and the internal water flow. So Predator Bay 3000 is so close. Alright, so this is the 3rd day of Predator Bay 3000 being mostly completely filled up to the drains. We have the one pump running still, 3,000 gallons per hour, and we're still feeding water over to the estuary over there. And so while waiting for my new 9,000 gallon per hour pump, I'm going to go ahead and do a bunch of maintenance to the tank that needs to get done. So first of all, The top is painted, but it's been, you know, messed with so much over the years. Gonna get it all cleaned up, wiped down, and a fresh coat of paint all the way around, including the braces. Here you can see I've just got a piece of wood holding that in position. I'm gonna get a bracket and lock that down so it's the exact position I want it to be. In the meantime, we come over here to the estuary. You can see I've got the wave maker turned off. I've got a little bit of sand in there. It's freezing cold outside now, so my sand had gotten rained on and then freezing cold, so I'm bringing it in positioning it all around the tank so it'll thaw out in here, and then we'll go ahead and add the sand to the estuary, and I'll start doing the same thing. Well, it's going to be a balancing act. I think for the 3000, I'm just going to have to stack the sand down here and then paint the top, and then once that's dry, just heave it up the ladder and add it, and then get in and spread it out. It's kind of one of those things where you just expect that with a big tank. You're going to have to get in sometimes. And then lastly, the filter down here, I'm going to start taking all the clean filter media and putting it back into the sump here and having that ready to go. You can see we've got the lights up here, all the electrical is nice and clean and everything like that. I need to do that with the electrical over here. This is a little pump that's just feeding the estuary, and the lights, it's all just sort of temporary. So I gotta take off a little bit of that old stuff, repurpose those timers, just get it all sorted, as well as I can start working on the tops and everything. So plenty of things to work on while we're waiting for the pump, but as you can see, we are definitely getting close. And as I take you around front, it's starting to look like a 3,000 gallon shark aquarium. Even cleaned off some of the glass, getting that look to it. But in this video, I'll get some sand in there, and we'll see how much more that lightens up the 3,000 gallon once the sand is on the bottom. As you can probably tell from that water movement, the new pump is here and it's installed. We have the full 12,000 gallons per hour pushing through the system, and you can see with the drains, it's about halfway on all 4 drains. So it's really moving some water. Of course, it's clouded up because there's 2,500 pounds, which is 50 bags of 50 pounds each of sand in here. So it's going to take a little bit for that to clear, as well as we went ahead and added 500 pounds of sand to the estuary, also needing to clear up, but it's getting there. It's only been a day or so that I've had the pads in, but it will clear up. So this is the replacement pump, and it's pretty much what I expected. I'm not using the new pump. The new pump is still in here. As you can see, I'm using the old pump because what happens is the electronics breaks. So the controller is what always dies on these. So I'm just using the new controller, and I haven't put in the new pump. So I don't know, maybe I can get I can check online to see if I can order just a controller, but we'll see. So at any rate, we have all 7 returns going right now. These are split. You can say 4 returns, 3 of them are split. We have all the lights in place for the mangroves. Now you gotta remember, these are shining up here because we're gonna be growing mangroves all out of here, the 20 feet of the estuary. And you can see we got the last light up here, so they're all good there. So you can see down to the filter, we've got the pads in there, and we have quite a bit of water flow. I'm waiting to put the media in because there's quite a bit of sediment in there that I'm going to pump out, and I'm still pumping out water as I put sand in, so I don't want to put the media in until it's absolutely ready to go. But basically the media is cleaned off. It's just a matter of me finishing putting in all the sand into the system, and then I'll go ahead and put the filter media in there and the polisher and suck out all that last bit of mold that's down there. And of course, pretty soon, as soon as the water's cleared up, it'll be time to start aquascaping both the estuary and the 3,000 gallon display tank. Oh yeah, and it's time to go ahead and start figuring out how I need to mount those mangroves. So you want to mount them up high so they grow out and cause the roots to grow all the way down. So they need to be partially in the water, partially out of the water. So I'll have to figure out exactly how I want to get them started. So as you can imagine, all that work on the 3,000 gallon has taken quite a bit of my time, and I haven't been able to get everything done on the 3,000 gallon Amazon aquarium that I wanted to. But let's take a look at what we did get done. So we have the new lights. We have two types. We got the Higher Nature Pros, 4 of those over here, and we have 4 of the Night Crews over here. So the Night Crews are working great for me because they go on off, and I have them hooked up to a timer, which is the way I like to run them. And then over here we have the Higher Nature Pros, and for the life of me, and I do have the manual and I've read it, I can't figure out a way to get these things to run in just on-off mode with the timers. They want to run in this 24-hour ramp up, ramp down mode, and every time I set them to basic mode, as soon as the timer goes, or basically what I thought was an on-off mode from reading the manual, even though it doesn't really work, they seem to lose their settings as soon as the timer goes off. So that's going to be problematic. My solution is going to be to mix the lights. So I'm going to have 1 set of Night Crews on each of the 4 sections, and then 1 Higher Pro or Nature Pro on each of the 4 sections. Take all the Higers off the timer, just let them do their 24-hour ramp up, ramp down. That'll give me a moonlight in here, and that'll give me a little bit of light on off hours, which will be kind of nice. And then during the main photo period, we'll have both lights at full intensity like they are now. So I'm just going to go with that. I have not made progress on getting the pump in place because, you know, it's only so much time, and as you can see, a lot of that time went into the 3,000 gallon. I need to find a way to, I want to situate the pump over in the back corner there. I need to run big air lines all the way down the length of the tank. I also need to have this be accessible so I can get to it to add more lines, and I need to have it properly situated. So I need to be able to access it easily enough, but also it needs to be on some sort of a stand. So I'm gonna have to build something over there and sort that all out. I really didn't want to rush it. Really no reason to rush it. So we'll get working on that pretty soon, but we'll bounce back to the Amazon Xingu River Aquarium, and we'll make those improvements pretty soon. In the meantime, my main focus is getting these 2 1,200 gallon tanks up and running. As you can see here, the one is all good on the inside, has all of its coats on the inside of the tank. It is ready to go. The filter box is completely fiberglass. It just needs to be cleaned out. I need to add the coats of pond shield here, and then this tank will be ready to add glass, which is positioned right behind it. So it shouldn't be too long to get this up and running, and this will allow me to move. This will be the new Amazonian Islands, the 10-foot version of the Amazonian Islands instead of the 6-foot we have right now, or going from 750 to 1,200 gallons. So that's going to free up the 750 to move the Africans to stop the leaking sump. And then the other 1,200 over here, I'm getting this cleaned off and getting ready to start working on this again, because this is going to be our 1,200 gallon Amazon community aquarium. And I got a lot of grow outs that are getting close to being ready, or they're more than ready to get in here, but I need to get this ready so that before they're too big for my grow out tanks, I get them into their permanent home. So we're going to be putting in a lot of work on this build as well. So never any shortage of projects here in the fish basement. So I know it took a little while to ramp up, but I wasn't kidding when I said this fall and winter is going to be crazy busy in the fish basement. We have tons of projects in motion. The 3,000 gallon is nearing a stage where it's going to go through you know, scaping and sort of maturing, just getting the tank ready, but it's not going to take a lot of time for me to do that. Well, after I move in another couple thousand pounds of sand, but after that, it's not going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to be back on these 1,200 gallon builds big time, and also tweaking these other tanks. And the huge thing about that is that opens up the floodgates, because that means that the 750 gets moved, the fish from the 750 get moved, the fish from the 125 then get moved into 750, which opens up the 125 as a whole new tank, as well as the whole 1,500 gallon system. Once the sharks go into new Predator Bay 3000, the old Predator Bay quickly gets converted into the 2,000 gallon lagoon aquarium. Obviously all the live rock, all the fish, they're in the 1,500 gallon system right now. They're in the reef slope, they're in the 265. I want to keep all that tank living, right? So all that bacteria, everything. So that's going to be a pretty quick transfer. So literally just moving the rock, aquascaping it, putting it in the water and transferring the fish. So that'll be fast. And that's going to open up the whole 1,500 gallon system, which is going to be going freshwater, which is 2 more tanks, the 265, the 700 gallon refugium, and the 600 gallon. It used to be a reef slope, but it'll be freshwater now. So as you can imagine, there's just a ton of stuff happening, a ton of things moving around, and a ton of new fish coming. So I know I'm super pumped, and getting through the 3,000 gallon is sort of rejuvenated me again. That was a lot of work getting it all up and running, but as you can see, it's looking good. And in the next video, hopefully we'll start aquascaping that beast. All right. So as always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys very soon.